Global geopolitics is reshaping, impacting geoeconomics. We live in a multipolar world today, making this a ripe time for upcoming economies to claim their spot on the global stage. In this race, Rwanda is positioning itself as a shining beacon of Africa. After the pandemic, the fuel hike, inflation, and now the looming glare of global economic crisis, nations are looking towards resilient supply chains, skilled human resources, and innovation. And although small in size, hidden in the rainforests of East Africa, Rwanda is under the spotlight for its growth, change, and vision. Welcome to this special edition of Invest Rwanda, and come with us to explore the contemporary world of a nation reborn.
Over the last 28 years, Rwanda has undergone a remarkable transformation from the aftermath of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi that devastated the nation to one of the fastest growing economies in sub-Saharan Africa. A country of sound leadership and foresight.
Always aiming high and creating high-end products. It's Rwanda, it's the nature of Rwanda, it's the investments our friends bring to our country.
With a people united by purpose, enjoying impressive growth, and with bold ambitions, offering investors a wide portfolio of real-time, practical, and upcoming irresistible opportunities.
And I can promise you that the business opportunities in Rwanda will bring you great returns. Nobody should invest anywhere without knowing that the investment that he's making is actually going to have great returns. And I can promise you that in Rwanda, there are many opportunities with great returns.
Bold, magical, a true investor's paradise.
Coming to Rwanda for the first time, visiting the Genocide Memorial and speaking to survivors, I have been overwhelmed by the resilience, grace, and determination of the Rwandan people.
I absolutely love it here. It's some of the kindest people I've ever met. That makes me, Claire, that makes me so happy when you say I've talked about Rwanda on the show over 24 times. I can't say enough about Rwanda.
Today, Rwanda upholds so much that is extraordinary. As a center for innovation, a world leader in women's empowerment, a growing hub for the green economy, and a commitment to a united future.
Many people are saying to me that, this is a small market, why are you putting in a lot of money and effort? But for me, I'm confident in the leadership of the country, and for me, being here now, investing here for like 12 years, I have seen the growth. I have seen the aggressiveness of the government trying to go out and get investors, and I see the changes every year. Although this COVID has slowed down a bit, but it has not stopped. So that's why I'm investing here. It will be more and more because I have confidence in Rwanda.
Ranked as the second fastest growing economy in Africa and most improved nation in human development in the world, with a strong African hub potential, highly connected African airline, second MICE ranking in Africa, and a fast growing bilingual, educated workforce, an ideal tech incubator, thanks to its appetite for innovation and taking the lead in environmental conservation. A true global champion for biodiversity. 10 years ago, the government established the Rwanda Green Fund, a cross-sectoral financing mechanism to achieve the development objective of environmentally sustainable, climate resilient, and green economic growth. But this did not come without its challenges.
There were a few challenges in getting quality proposals because obviously the fund was put in place with eligibility criteria and as well as different conditions that have to be fulfilled, looking at and these were set at the international standards. So we had to make sure that we get quality proposals. And now looking at where we are right now, we've seen a great level of we're getting better and quality proposals that are coming our way, but also the understanding of climate change and the need to actually mainstream it across sectoral plans is coming out a lot more. And this is also due to the fact that climate change is no longer something we think of that's going to come in the future. It's actually happening. So when we build a road and tomorrow you have flooding that comes and destroys the road, then you know that you need to plan better next time and have proper drainage systems.
One such beneficiary of Rwanda's ambitious plans for the mass market adoption of electronic mobility is Ampersand, that has grown from a tiny bootstrapped R&D garage project into one of East Africa's leading electronic mobility solution providers.
I think when we looked for a market to enter, Rwanda was a natural fit. It's easy to set up and manage a company here, as well as there's also fantastic support systems. Every day across Rwanda and all of East Africa, 5 million commercial motorcycle operators work very hard for very little, and then spend nearly half of their earnings on fuel. Ampersand's solution combines an affordable electric motorcycle, a reliable battery, and an intelligent swap network. And what that gives to the customer is a vehicle that performs better and also costs less to operate.
Every day in East Africa, 100 million people hop on the back of a motorbike taxi to get to work or run errands. In Rwanda alone, more than half the vehicles on the roads at any one time are motor taxis, an indispensable part of the transport system, but one that's polluting the air and contributing to climate change.
Africa's population is set to double by 2050. There's no way for the world to hit its emissions goals on this current trajectory. The government of Rwanda has been incredibly forward-looking with countering climate change, supporting companies like ours with early stage grants in research and development, and also recently adopting a suite of policies to stimulate the adoption of electric vehicles.
As a fast mover on the continent in this specific two-wheel mobility category, there were no examples to follow while setting up Ampersand in 2016, Brady says.
In the early days of setting up here in Rwanda, we have a serious chicken and egg problem, having to do everything ourselves just to gain traction. Since then, we've been able to find fantastic finance partners that offer loan packages to our customers, as well as recently started a program to train private garages across the city to service our electric motorcycles. A recent development is that we've been able to build our battery swap network alongside Total Energies, placing electric charging there in their forecourts. We see electric vehicles as an industry that the entire country can benefit from.
For the past 2 decades, Rwanda has been at the forefront of the circular economy transition. It was one of the first countries in the world to ban the use of single-use plastic bags in 2008. Today, the country is one of the only 13 countries in Africa that have passed national legislation regarding e-waste regulation.
When we talk about circular economy, and from where I sit, from the Rwanda Green Fund, I believe there are a number of opportunities. Now, one thing that's going to drive the circular economy is innovation. So what we're doing on our end is also working on funding mechanisms to avail the necessary resources needed to support this innovation aspect that could drive the circularity that we're talking about.
Waste Zone, a Rwandan e-waste startup, is already redefining the future of urban mining by contributing to the creation of an economy which will rise from the already existing electronic materials.
So because we do believe by doing that we can divert those materials from going to the landfills, hence creating a circular economy, also even reducing the carbon emissions those landfills generate. And our mobile app facilitates consumers to transact with other consumers second-hand electronics, which are quality and security vetted by Waste Zone, and hence even bringing manufacturers on board to trace all those materials through the value chains. Hence, ensuring that they be able to take them back at their sites just to recover different materials from those electronics. Hence, in that case, we divert them from going to the landfill and hence limit carbon emission, while also enabling manufacturers to rely on urban mining rather than on conventional mining, which is not environmental eco-friendly in the long run.
Ghislaine therefore believes that Rwanda is on track to achieving its vision of fully transitioning to a circular economy.
Because already policies on the ground are enabling the whole value chain, and even they are inclusive in the way that the whole value chain is operating. Here we're talking about consumers that are generating products or maybe like reused products on the market. Manufacturers, other value chain actors such as repairers, scrappers. So there's like a regulatory framework which is enabling them to operate in this environment. And beyond that, different policies such as like the new ban on single use of plastics. This is really promising because it's creating this circular economy which is driven by conducive policies. Because we do believe there should be like some policies on the ground that could catalyze this transition to circular economy.
It's actually a global issue to have a clean environment. So Rwanda has really been the pace setter in trying to really address this issue. And us as BBOX, where we fall in, I mean, we fall in terms of, trying to reduce on reliance on biomass that's, cutting down trees for cooking. We try to rely on using, let's say, diesel to generate housing. So that's where really we fall in. We fall in terms of electrification. We fall in terms of clean cooking.
Climate or green resilience policies, I believe it's a great opportunity since we are attracting different investors to come on board. And climate resilience even provides like more opportunities, especially in creating green jobs, as well as even fulfilling different market demands, and ensuring that we are tackling problems on the ground while also serving consumers, but in environmental consciously way that we can ensure that we create those jobs, while on the other hand driving more green business models which are making a green impact.
Rwanda wants to develop a climate resilient country due to the fact that it recognizes that climate change as a major risk to our development. A study on the economics of climate change that was conducted in 2009 revealed that we could lose 1% of our GDP by 2030 if nothing is done and if we don't develop in a sustainable manner. I believe that Rwanda is on track to fully transition into a green economy because one, we have an enabling environment and policies in place. We have a green growth and climate resilience strategy which sets clear targets of how we're going to achieve this by the year 2050. We have the Vision 2050, which actually highlights that Rwanda will be a carbon neutral economy by 2050, as well as an NDC which has set ambitious targets to reduce carbon emissions by 38%. Now, the second reason why I believe Rwanda will achieve this is also the fact that there is a financing vehicle, such as the Rwanda Green Fund, which has been established to attract the level of investment needed to support these policies that have been put in place.
Policies that prioritize key areas of growth and development, equipping the nation with the right tools to leap forward and match pace with the world. And one of these is financial technology, a space where Rwanda is showing tremendous inclusive growth, leaving no one behind.
96.7% of Rwanda's geographic coverage is covered by 4G LTE services, while the population coverage of 96.6% enjoys 4G LTE services. The country has an 81% mobile phone penetration, with over 11 million mobile payment subscribers recorded as at 2018. 89 government services are currently offered online, with 100% of health centers connected to the internet.
Rwanda's digitization journey started, I must say, about 22 years ago when we made the intentional or deliberate decision to put ICT at the center of all our socio-economic development plans. And it started with the reality or the realization of the fact that we don't have too much natural resources. We're a landlocked country, and technology, innovation, ICTs were going to be key drivers of socioeconomic growth. And when we started that journey, our focus was how do we put in place the right institutional frameworks, the right institutional reforms, institutions that were going to drive our digital ambition, our ambition to become a digital economy. And that was also followed with heavy public investments in digital infrastructure, what we call the foundation or the core of the digital economy. And throughout the years of investing in digital infrastructure, that's where we laid out the 2,300 kilometers of fiber connecting all districts and border points of the country. We invested in building the National Data Center, investments in cybersecurity infrastructure, because we were making heavy investments in infrastructure, but we also needed to make investments in infrastructure that would safeguard these digital infrastructure investments and information assets that we were putting in place. And the journey has been one of more than 20 years, as I said at the beginning. And today, where we are, we're now leveraging or taking advantage of these investments that we've already made in digital infrastructure and skills to really empower the different sectors of the economy. And that's why ICT has been mainstreamed as an enabler across the different economy, across the different sectors of the economy. That's why you see a strong focus on how can we leverage digital technologies to drive quality and accessible education, to drive productivity and food security, to ensure renewable energy solutions, to help MSMEs in going digital and accessing various markets. And so ICT has continued to be a cross-cutting tool, but also an enabler for the different sectors. And we continue to make investments, whether it's in skills, last mile connectivity, because we believe, based on the progress that we've seen, but also seeing where we are going as a country, that technology will continue to be an enabler for the growth and development that we want to see.
But just what has been driving Rwanda's policy formulation around modernization of the country's financial sector?
So in terms of the drivers for digital financial inclusion, one of them is around the availability of relevant tools and content and applications. Today, we see applications such as mobile money, savings applications that are really coming onto the market, and we see a lot of use of that. But that wouldn't have been possible if it hadn't been for the digital infrastructure that has already been put in place. Institutions or the corporates around that are able to leverage these digital technologies, whether we're talking about banks, telecommunication companies, or startups in the Fintech industry, that are using different sets of technology to respond to how we can close on the gap of digital financial inclusion today. And today we take pride in knowing that you have over 90% financial inclusion that has been enabled for our citizens using digital technologies. And this is from about 26.1% 10 years ago. And this is thanks to the use of technology and making sure that these financial services are easily accessible by our citizens, are easily accessible by everyone who will need them. The third driver for this is around the skills, and I think that also ties very well into the second one, which is the ecosystem, the industry. Because without the skills, then you wouldn't be able to innovate and create all these solutions that make sense, that allow for meaningful use of these digital infrastructure investments. And so, and the final one, which perhaps should also be the most important one, is having the right business, policy and regulatory environment.
Over the last decade, Rwanda's financial sector has seen tremendous growth, expanding in leaps and bounds, with the mushrooming of an array of institutions like a stock exchange, banks, microfinance institutions, savings and credit cooperatives, insurance companies, and pension funds. The sector is becoming increasingly diversified.
What really we have tried to do in the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years is to ensure that, one, our regulatory framework is robust enough to ensure financial stability. So we are happy that we haven't had any major financial institution failure in those instances. And when we've seen sectors that had problems, especially the microfinance, we've intervened and made sure that depositors are protected, and hence the Deposit Guarantee Fund that was established. Secondly, to make sure that our regulatory framework is in line with international best practices, especially by introducing these Basel reforms even in our own financial sector.
So Rwanda's digital economy agenda is really about leaving no one behind and making sure that every citizen of Rwanda benefits in a meaningful way from the investments that are being made, or from the benefits and the opportunities that the digital economy promises. And what does that mean? It means that starting from infrastructure, earlier I did talk about the investments that have been made in really just putting in place the backbone infrastructure. But right now, our biggest focus is how do we make sure that last mile connectivity is affordable and accessible for everyone? Because without that, then you're still going to see so many people that are dependent on third-party service providers to be able to meaningfully benefit from these opportunities that the digital economy presents to us. The other thing in terms of the agenda is making sure that every Rwandan is digitally literate. Every citizen in Rwanda is digitally literate. Why is that important? Because that's the only way people can benefit from the digital economy. People will be able to, interact with the different platforms and tools in a way that creates value for them, in a way that creates wealth for them, and in a way that betters their lives on a day-to-day basis. And so that's really important for us. And so that's really our digital transformation agenda, making sure that the use and integration of digital technologies in Rwanda is sustainable, but also is one that is inclusive to make sure that every Rwandan is benefiting from these equally.
Apart from delivering financial services, we're developing people, which is what drives the growth of any digital economy. We employ some of the best and some of the youngest talented Rwandans, and we ensure that they are challenged and get exposed to world-class standards, world-class teams, world-class projects, and then they are able to participate in the development of all of these top-class financial solutions, digital financial solutions that we've been working on. And in doing that, we pollinate the Rwandan space, right? We raise the standards. We show people that it's possible. And beyond that, should some of these talented young men or women decide to leave the digital factory, I am sure that wherever they land, they're going to help them raise their game and be even more productive.
Our priorities as a regulator, in as much as we want to push for more digital financial services, is also to make sure that the infrastructure underpinning it is secure and the transactions are also secure. Hence, one of our priority is really building cyber resilience, not only as a central bank, but also making sure that all financial institutions that we regulate have robust cybersecurity and risk management that are tied to cyber or the risk of cyber attack. The second that we've seen that is an emerging risk is the protection of data. As you know, Rwanda has put in place last year personal data and privacy protection law, and we have to make sure that our financial institutions, with the data that they collect, store and process, are abiding by that regulation. Secondly, it's also, I think, a prerequisite to continue building trust in the financial sector. You can imagine if, God forbid, we were to have a financial institution that is a victim to, cyber attack, or that has data that's being misused, then the trust that we've built into our own financial system would be undermined. And then the last point is really to ensure that whatever digital innovation or technology innovation that's being introduced in our financial system is not excluding, a portion of our population. One can look at, for instance, if there was a product that's only offered to people who can afford a smartphone, we would be excluding, a portion of our population who doesn't have smartphones as of yet. So we have to make sure that products that are digitalized can be accessed as widely as possible.
Rwanda is already attracting large-scale investment opportunities in new and upcoming sectors, including green and sustainable financing, and Fintech. SPEN is one of such Fintech companies.
Rwanda is a very interesting market, but also not only being interesting for investors. The government of Rwanda is very welcome for foreign direct investment, us also being part of that. The government of Rwanda has invested heavily into making sure that we have, as investors, a very good ecosystem. They have made investment in very good infrastructure that allows us tech, fintech companies be able to transact, but also we have a very interesting and innovative partner, I&M Bank, and the central bank that is very willing to help the companies go cashless and also digitize the whole country. And for that, we find the market of Rwanda being very open for us, but also see the future of growing as the initiatives of the country lead to what we believe into. I can give you one example. If you look at the new initiative driven by the central bank in partnership with the ICT chamber of the Sandbox, that's one of the things you can't easily see in other markets, and it makes us not only that we're interested in the market in the beginning, but also us be more interested in keep investing in Rwanda as a market.
So having a sandbox in place where any innovator, but we have criteria, we cannot accept everyone, can go through that process where we also as a regulator learn about the technology, the product, and also be able to challenge ourselves on, are the regulations in place really, facilitating that product, especially if it's a product that's solving issues on access, quality of services, or affordability of those services. So we think really the regulatory sandbox, which has been put in place this year since April, will help a long way to really facilitate those startups in the financial services to be able to offer their services, but having not only been educated on the constraints or requirements to be able to offer financial services. As you know, the financial sector is one of the most regulated sectors, but it's done in a way that we know people are really using either the citizens' savings. We don't want people losing their deposits because they're now depositing with a fintech or a young startup. And we need to really make sure that whatever innovation is coming to the financial sector is not sort of a cause of instability to our financial sector. So that striking that balance through a regulatory sandbox where for 12 months, the startup can test or pilot their products is one of the ways that we think we're facilitating innovation in the financial sector.
And as Rwanda looks towards becoming a business and financial center of excellence in the region, industry partnerships will remain key.
So in brief, what do I see in 20 years? I see maybe 20 years is too long. Maybe what do I see in 10 years? I see a connected society.
We want to see an increase of savings so that we not only have a thriving banking sector, but also our capital markets that would facilitate, the funding of long-term projects that our country needs.
I see a society that is, highly empowered, that is fully digitized. I see a society where you can't tell the difference between someone who's living in the rural parts of the country and the urban parts of Rwanda, because we all have the same tools and platforms, and we can all equally access them in the same manner.
With increased access to business tools, the next chapter of Rwanda's development vision is to become a supreme manufacturer and exporter of products, not only to become self-sufficient, but also to assist Africa's growth story.
Rwanda's desire for self-reliance is rooted in its will to create. From the nation's home ground to Africa and beyond, Rwanda is said to become a manufacturing hub.
2014, our founder and CEO, Thijs Boer, was in Rwanda for a master research, and he researched the potato value chain. And one of the conclusions of his research was actually that a party is needed who adds value to the produce of farmers. So I think, yeah, it inspired him to start his own business, and that was actually the birth of Hollanda Fair Food. So in 2015, the first machines arrived to Rwanda, and we started processing Winna's potato crisps. Winna's was born.
With these potato crisps, Hollanda Fair Foods has been on the move to build the layers of Africa. But that wasn't an easy road to travel.
Yeah, in the beginning we really struggled to put our products in the market, but right now it has grown. The market has grown. People know what snacking is, and I can say that we produce more than 1 million bags of crisps a year. Around 30% of this produce gets exported. And we plan to massively scale up the exports the coming 2 years. So first of all, we produce kettle potato crisps. So this is an artisanal type of process whereby you batch fry your crisps in smaller quantities, thicker slices and more flavor. So you tend to taste more potato when you eat our crisps. This is how we diversify ourselves as a potato chip producer, but also recently we have started to include new value chains into our business model. So we have started up a new brand called Tsinda. It also stands for winners. So yeah, we have Winnas and Tsinda. And with Tsinda we are going to process sweet potatoes, banana and cassava also into snacking products. And by doing this, by including these new value chains, we hope to impact or have a positive impact on even more farmer lives. We are constructing a 120-ton storage facility for potatoes. This will allow us to source more potatoes from more farmers and also store them for a longer period of time. So once we secure more raw material, we will be able automatically to process more potatoes into potato chips. In addition to this, we are trying to create or aiming to create a new market for packed potatoes. So we have invested in a sorting and packaging line, whereby we are going to sort the potatoes according to size and then pack them in nettings for the premium market. So maybe to supply, for example, hotels and restaurants and the supermarkets.
Tens of factory workers are beneficiaries of this project. A key component that Rwanda wants to achieve as it promotes manufacturing. Lives have been transformed. Parents have been able to take their children to school, save for the future, and young graduates now have a place to call home.
We have directly employed around 60 people. And then also a lot of casual labor to do other, for the potato transports and whatever. So I think we directly impact around 67 to 80 people. In terms of skills development, we work together, or we try to always be collaborative with the local universities and educational institutes by creating engaging internships for graduates or for people in the process of obtaining their degree. And then, of course, the goal is always to also have them grow with the company, that after the internship or after the graduation, they can work together with us and help us as a company.
I have been long 2 years in the Hollanda Fair Food. I started with the internship for 2 months. And after that, I get opportunity to work as production manager, where I try to engage in different activities, from washing potato to packaging, where I get different skills and knowledge. My job helping me to do different activities. Firstly, is helping my family, my husband, because before I came here, my husband is the one who solved all problem at home, even school fees of our child. All basic needs.
Another Rwandan company is following the same model to manufacture export quality chocolates.
We made different chocolates, different types of chocolates. We get some cocoa from DRC, Congo. Then we made it here in Musanze. We made different types like dark chocolates, milk chocolates, and white chocolates. In those three types, we mix with like ginger, lemon, lemon with the white, ginger with the milk, dark with pili-pili.
Although Character Patifi is a relatively young company, their homemade chocolates are slowly but surely becoming a household name. Character Patifi's chocolates are already found on shelves of popular retail stores, hotels, and even trade shows.
When we start to produce the chocolates here in Musanze was 2000, the end of 17 and the beginning of 18. So we started in Musanze, was few people and few customers, but for now we expand the customers, and also we have the main people who work for the company. So all of them are Rwandan people.
It is not just the food processing industry that is driving the industrial sector in Rwanda. The light manufacturing and construction in particular is also playing its bigger part. At this cement factory in Musanze, just a few kilometers away from the capital Kigali, a wheel loader truck inside the storage shed is loading raw materials on conveyor belts. As the raw materials are being loaded, conveyor belts carry the raw materials through a tunnel underneath the shed to the process line all the way to the major segment of the factory.
So this is the packing plant. What is done here is basically putting the cement that you have already stored in the silos, and we pack them into the bags, and then we load them into the trucks. So how does the process go? Up there are equipments which extract the cement from the silos, and they load them inside the packing machine in the background. So it's a high technology German-made equipment which loads, which has the capacity of loading 120 bags in 1 hour. Or if I put it this way, it can load one truck of 700 bags in 20 minutes. So from the rotary packing machine, the bag is transported by the conveying belt to the truck. So from the truck to the market.
So our installed capacity here so far, we are in phase 1. We have 600,000 metric tons installed capacity annually that we can produce on an annual basis. But going forward, we are planning in phase 2 next year to double the capacity and reach up to 1,300,000 metric tons to be able to cover the demand, because so far here locally, I mean in Rwanda, the production capacity is reaching around 50% of the demand itself. So there's still a big market that we're still looking forward to.
There is the demand in the market. The fact that Rwanda receives cement from Rwanda and Uganda, and actually Kenya, it means the market is there. And secondly, we do have raw material. I don't know if you know, our plant is actually located in a location where we source one of the raw materials. Pozzolana is locally out of our volcanoes here. So we are closer to one of the raw materials. And then the other thing was also employment. So bringing a facility like this here and actually being the first manufacturing plant in Musanze is creating jobs for our people in the country, but also in this region, to shift manufacturing out of Kigali, but also to the secondary cities.
So we have created a lot of jobs. We have so far a workforce of around 220 people, mainly the production team, technical people, and then we have a fleet for transporting the raw material, but also sales. And we also have the financials and all these things. But locally, we have also hired local service suppliers in terms of manpower. So we work with some cooperatives here that give us the manpower to load, offload cement bags. So we create a proper impact on at the local level as well.
Rwanda is growing every day. We're sprinting. We're actually not just growing. We're sprinting to growth. So cities are growing. As you can see, Kigali is growing every day. We still have room for more buildings. Secondary cities will also be developed. The roads, I don't know if you know, our 42.5 product is meant for road construction, for airport, for anything industrial. And as we continue to grow as an industrial country as well, this product is going to be in high demand.
Rwanda wants to become an upper middle income country by 2035. With that, it means investment in infrastructure activities will have to rise, pushing demand of construction materials such as cement even higher. What is next? It is time for investors to grab every rising opportunity.
Already to start with, the local market is big enough to cover our offer. So the demand is still higher than the offer. So for any person in that type of industry, this is a great for them. But also going forward, our region is pretty much building up, physically building up. You know, whenever you come to Kigali, after 1 month, you see so many different things happening. That's not only Kigali, but also, I would say, the region itself. We can talk about Congo, for example, where we export. 47% of our market is in Congo. So the region itself is dynamic enough to consume our products and the derivatives of our products, of cement products.
I would say on a sustainable tempo, the cement industry in Rwanda and in this zone, generally the Great Lakes, should be able to grow in the zone of 10%, give or take. This is because we still are at a very low base. If you look at Rwanda, for example, the market size is estimated at something like 950,000 tons. If you divide that by the population, is a per capita consumption of something like 65 kilos. Yes, it has grown from previous years 60 kilos or just under that, but really that is still very low. And the story is the same for the countries around us. I think we are in the zone of 100, 130, but we need to get to 300, 400, so there's still a lot of work to do. And I think this is reflected in the vision of Rwanda.
Rwanda may be a geographically tiny country, but with big ambitions. The country's vision to position itself as a manufacturing hub could not be complete without a special focus on pharmaceuticals. Countries across Africa have struggled to access life-saving vaccines because of the lack of capacity to produce these vaccines and other therapeutics. This could change as more pharmaceutical companies establish base.
Hano duherereye muri production room, niho dukorera vacuum blood collection tube. Tukaba turi ku gice cya production line, aho hari shene tunyuzaho ama tray turimo gukora amatibe. Igice cya mbere duhera kuri labeling machine, aho dushyiraho amarebo ku matibe yacu. Tukava kuri labeling tumaze gushyira amatibe yacu mu matray, tukayajyana kuri spraying machine, naho dushyiramo additive muri tibe zacu. Iyo tuvuye kuri spraying machine tujya ku gice gikurikiraho cya drying machine. Muri icyo gice cya drying machine naho ya additive twashyizemo, kuko iri suforume ya likide tugerageza kuyumisha dukoresheje ubushyuhe. Iyo tuvuye kuri drying machine tujya kuri cupping aho dushyiraho imifuniko. Iyo tuvuye kuri cupping tujya kuri vacuum aho dushyiraho vacuum mu matibe yacu. Iyo tugezaho tuba dushoje amatibe yacu haba hasigaye yuko tuyajyana inyuma kuyapanga.
2016 nibwo twatangiye production ya mbere. Icyo twifuzaga rero nuko twifuzaga ko tudahora dushaka nkuko twigishijwe tudahora dushaka ibintu hanze ariko natwe tugira ibyacu. Ubwo rero production yacu twayikoze kugira ngo duhaze u Rwanda hanyuma dusohore no hanze muri twatekerezaga mbere na mbere muri East Africa. Turasupplyingayo noneho turashaka no kurenga kure. Iyo yari faze ya mbere. Noneho muri 2019 2020 hari icyorezo cya coronavirus cyateye, twabyumvise vuba cyane, turihuta dutumiza amamashini kuko maske ziproteja abaturage zari zamaze kuzamura cyane igiciro hejuru. Icyo twatekereje kwari kugira ngo natwe dufashe igihugu kugira ngo habeho protection.
Pharmalab is a company that specializes in manufacturing of tubes for blood, urine, and stool collection, as well as medical consumables. The company was founded by 3 Rwandans after abandoning their good jobs overseas. The 3 investors saw an opportunity in a sector that they thought was ready for investment.
Harayo twari twifitemo, hari nayo twafashe muri bank. Kuba tubasha kwishyura muri bank, uwo ni umusaruro. Kuba tubasha kwishyura abakozi bacu, nawo ni umusaruro. Kuba tugihagaze, ni umusaruro. Mu by'ukuri turareba imbere rwose ho hazaba heza mu gihe tuzatuvuyemo muri loan dufite. Dushobora kugira noneho etape ya kabiri kuko ne phase ya kabiri twatekereje d'abord ibingibi byo muri laboratoire, ariko mu by'ukuri mu bitekerezo byacu twifuza kuba twakora ibikoresho bitandukanye biri muri domaine medical.
Rwanda is thinking big. As the country positions itself to become a major launchpad for innovative solutions, investors are already seeing massive opportunities. BioNTech, a global manufacturing company, is building its first Africa mRNA factory in Rwanda.
It's the first mRNA company to be built in Africa. You know, we started our mRNA research more than 20 years ago, and it was always our dream to make medicines available where people need it. And for us, Africa is a prime example that innovation can be brought to any place, yeah? And it's a prime example that people could accomplish a great major milestone in shortest time if they work together. It's a wonderful feeling today to see all the friends and partners who have worked tireless the last months to make this possible. This is significant. It's not only financial resources. So the plant, the biocontainers are constructed by us. We spent 2 years in developing that. This is really innovative development work. We had a team of about 120 people working on this since about 1 year, and we are dedicated to have a team here in place. It's not only about the financial commitment, it's really about the people. Yeah. So this is one of the most attractive projects in BioNTech. So we asked who wants to be part of this project. No, usually you get 60-70% of people, but this time it was 300%. This was overbooked, this project. So everyone is really interested to participate in this project.
The presence of pharmaceutical companies such as Pharmalab and BioNTech could help Rwanda reduce dependence on drug imports. To put it in context, in 2019, Rwanda spent around $97.6 million on drug imports alone, and it is expected to increase by $102.5 million in 2024. With the presence of pharmaceutical companies, these production facilities are helping employ the next generation of Rwandan scientists.
I started here in 2016, so it's been 6 years and some months. It's been a great experience. So to work in Pharmaceutical Factory as a lady, as a woman, so I think it's a great experience. People think working in Pharmaceutical Factory it's quite hard, but for me, I don't think it's hard. It's all about dedication. When you put an effort in everything you do, you can go far. So for me, I learned a lot working here, using different machines. So, and I achieved a lot of things in life.
Rwanda is on the horizon. As a result of an incentives program that was introduced in 2021, Rwanda attracted investments worth $3.7 billion last year from $1.3 billion a year before, which is the highest investment registration to date. The investment landscape is improving, and with incentives, manufacturing could only get better.
Manufacturing a product, you must not only develop, let's say, it's steel industry. We know Kenya, Uganda, they are big competitors in the region, and even sometimes Tanzania. But if you see the companies, the industries we have now, we have almost 4. They are trying to produce. Of course, they are exporting many in Congo. We have the Congo is a good market for us. So if you can continue to put those investments, I think the 13% you have been able to achieve will be more until 2024 when we will be ending the next ST1.
With these ambitions, Rwanda's industrial sector will continue to grow in the years to come. The country will move away from being a net importer to a net producer, trade deficit will narrow, and the country will gracefully manage its economy. As the saying always goes, Africa consumes what it doesn't produce and produces what it doesn't consume. With increasing purchasing power, this is set to change for the better.
And it is changing for the better. After all, Rwanda has displayed the tenacity of tech, innovation, inclusion and development in tandem with the audacity of administration. And the nation's message is clear. Rwanda is open for business. Thanks for tuning in for this special edition. Goodbye for now.